Okay, welcome to the Thought Garden on the Air, where we explore the stories, strategies, and skills that shape the most compelling personal brands and talented professionals today. I'm your host, Alexis Quintal, CEO and owner of Rosarium. We are a personal branding and public relations firm dedicated to helping entrepreneurs, business leaders, and influencers monetize and elevate their personal brands to achieve their goals. And today I'm excited to welcome Rosie Paulsen, a dynamic entrepreneur, accomplished author, and advocate for resilience and empowerment. Rosie's inspiring journey from immigrant to successful business leader has spanned more than 2 decades. She's the founder of SNR Services and Rosie Paulsen Enterprises, author of soon to be republished Nieke. Hopefully I said that right.
Yes.
Her story is a testament of the power of perseverance and staying true to your purpose. So welcome, Rosie. Thanks for joining us.
Oh, buenos días a todos. Buenas tardes, buenas noches, whatever you guys are. Thank you so much for inviting me, Alexis. I am so excited to share my story because, like mine, I do have my story to tell, but there's many of us here. And my encouragement to everybody is share your story. Even if one person gets something out of your story, then your story is worth it. Everyone's have a story that needs to be told.
Yeah, and part of that story is your journey. So we really want to kick it off and hear about your journey as an immigrant and what inspired you to pursue entrepreneurship in a new country.
Yeah. Well, I was about 10 years old. So I've always been outside the box thinker. So back when I was in Ecuador, South America, girls did not play soccer. Actually, you were told that you were not going to be a lady if you play soccer. And I love playing soccer, basketball, and soccer was my thing. So I used to have to kind of dress as a boy at that time because okay, we're talking about almost 40 years now. That was not normal back then to be able to play, to be able to be allowed to play soccer. My friends, my immediate friends knew, but if we had another rival team, they will say, well, we will not play with them because they have girls in their team, because it was me, another friend of mine, and my sister also. I was a great goalkeeper, by the way, because I came from a basketball background.
Oh.
So one Saturday morning, I'm getting ready to go and fight the world because I needed to advocate for myself that I was able to play soccer like everybody else, and everyone is playing. By the time I get to the field, everyone is playing with this young girl. She had blonde hair, green eyes, and her skin color was different from us. Okay, so in my broken English, I tell at that time I tell my best friend, how come everybody's playing with her? She's a girl and you guys don't play with me. And they give me a hard time. Well, she's an American. And Americans, they can play soccer. So I'm like, okay. So I befriended her in my broken Spanish, in her broken, my broken English, in her broken Spanish. And I said to her, what's America? And she shared with me that she was an evangelist that came to my country to share the gospel, and that in America, the girls can do anything they want, even playing soccer. So I ran back to my home and I told my mom, and this is at 10 years old, I said, Mom, I know how I will be able to play soccer and nobody's going to tell me no. And my mom goes, how? Well, we got to move to this country named United States. We got to meet this name named Jesus, and everything is going to be okay, Mom. Everything is going to be okay. And that 10-year-old mindset set me to a journey that I visited America for the first time and it was New York City. We went to Miami, then New York City at 12. And on my way back from the United States to Ecuador at that age of 12, knowing that this is where I belong because I got adjusted right away. I cried all my 4 hours back from New York to Miami to Ecuador, or Quito, where I'm from. And I said, America, you haven't heard the last of Rosie. I will come back and make a name for myself. And at 17 years old, I think I pestered my parents enough for 5 years that at 17 years old, my whole family, that was my brother, my sister, my mom, and my dad, we all moved to the United States. My sister and I came first. My dad came later. My brother came after. My mom came last. They came to Tampa, Florida, which at that time nobody knew what Tampa was, but
Right.
we
Right.
ended up in Tampa. They picked us up. My sister and I were in New Jersey. They picked us up. And in January of 1989, I moved to Tampa, Florida. And I've been here ever since, except 1.5 years that I live in San Antonio, Texas. So I've seen Tampa from where it is now to where
Yeah.
it was.
Yeah.
But here I am. That's my story. Just my mindset was
Wow.
coming and I came.
I love that. You really set your mind to that and made it happen. And now you've had experience with multiple businesses, but I want to hear, like, what's been the most challenging part of entrepreneurship for you?
The most challenging part has always been the clarity of the business.
Mm,
A lot of us have the skills, right? And we use tactics, but we don't have a strategy. And the strategy comes clear when you have your why. Where are you going? Why are you doing what you're doing?
mhm,
And what I told people is for my been in the industry and the Medicare Advantage in the Medicare industry for over it's actually May of this year is going to be 21 years. I started when
wow.
nobody knew what Medicare was, and I was
Right.
a Medicare girl. So I realized that for 17 years of my life, I did tactics. So I created a website, but
Mhm,
there's no reason why people will go to the website. I just wanted
right.
to look me up and say Rosie Paulsen, no SNR services. And at that time, my company was named Good Faith Insurance Services, and they found me. But there was no
Mm,
reason why I couldn't capture the leads, what they were going. Somebody says, Rosie, you should write a book. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and write a book. I did everything that I set my mind to
mhm,
do,
mhm,
but there was no strategy. So
mm,
in 2023, I started working with a business coach. And anybody,
mhm,
if you are an entrepreneur, the first thing that you have to have in your arsenal is a business coach. Okay,
mm,
because
yeah.
a business coach, that doesn't mean that they're successful at what um, they have. They will see outside the box
Mhm,
because you are seeing this way and they see it outside. They'll do these questions. The coach doesn't have to be the best at what he does. Like athletes have coaches, but that doesn't
mhm.
mean that they run marathons or that they won the Olympics, right?
Right, right.
They will go with the strategy of this is how you have to do. You have to do so many push-ups to get you to this. So when you get a coach, the first thing that I discovered was that I was running away from my purpose.
Mm,
And I was running away from my purpose because I had the wrong message. And then
okay.
I realized that my purpose is to teach others how to fire their 9 to 5 boss and job.
Yep.
I actually have this experience that I can duplicate in somebody. I just literally clone you to be able to
Mm,
help so many seniors that they're scared and confused on Medicare. But I'm raising the next generation of insurance leaders with a servant heart. That
mhm.
was the missing message.
Right.
And yesterday we sat down with our company where we have our contracts under, and they're
Mhm,
kind of like the ones that keep us, I would not say accountable. We don't have a minimum of how many sales, but the growth, they were
mm,
impressed with the growth. So from 23
right.
to 24, which is when I hired the coach, we grow 140% on sales.
Wow.
Profits on the first quarter of 2024, we grew 600%. So that
Wow.
is what I want you to stay out of this whole
Mm,
thing.
yeah.
Understand that the clarity
Mm,
was you are going to target where exactly you're going to go, and
right.
you are going to focus and make more money that being here, there, running everywhere, trying to do these tactics that you spend money on, because I've
Mhm,
spent so much money on the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars. And
mhm,
now I'm making it more successful because I'm focused, I'm clear, and I know what I'm going to do.
mm. Right. So once you find that focus, that's where you can really see the growth that you're really looking for. But you have to
Yes.
start there, right? I
And
love that.
I see that story in my book also. And I'm glad that you named it Ñeque, which it means grit and resilient. It's actually
Mm,
a spirit of not giving up. And to
yeah.
me, being an entrepreneur, being a business owner is a courageous act. Is you
Yeah.
getting up every
It's
single
scary.
you do it. And that doesn't mean it's not scary. There's days that you'll have money, there's days that you don't know how you're gonna pay the bills.
Yeah.
But eventually you're gonna do it. And once you
Mhm.
succeed, you help others to do the same.
Right. Exactly. You can spread that. You can harvest the goodness that you've built for yourself and grown for
Yes,
yourself.
yes.
And I know you talk a lot too about your faith, and I feel like that's something that's really influenced your journey. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, and I think every successful person is going to tell you about their faith.
Yeah.
And to me, I'm a Christian. I was saved by Jesus Christ at the age of 33. I was raised Catholic because in Ecuador, Catholics is the big thing. I
Okay.
used to go to church. My grandmother used to take me to church. So my family will always say, we were Catholics, bad Catholics. We never went to church. We never prayed. But the rosary, but we're going to die Catholics. But then I realized that Christianity is about a relationship, and it's a
Hmm.
relationship with your creator, and that you
Mm,
are not a mistake. And God created you for a purpose. Okay. And if
mhm.
you are not living your purpose, you are not fulfilled. And that is why you try to numb the pain that you have from not fulfilling your purpose with different things. Like, and work
Yeah.
can be one of them, right?
Oh yeah.
Are
Yeah.
a lot of individuals that lose families, get divorced, lose their children. Why? Because they come obsessed with their work, but they don't have work-life balance, right?
Mhm.
and
Right.
and that's because of your purpose. So having God in my life has allowed me to first find out what I am made to be. I'm perfectly wonderfully made. I'm courageous. God did. I'm one of those watchmen in the spirit world, as they call it. In the secular world, it's actually a person with a lot of intuition, and this is a
Mm,
God-given thing. I know where money is gonna come from. I just not gonna tell you that, okay, we're gonna do this and like the minutia of it.
right.
I can't tell you. That's why I hire amazing people like you to make me look amazing, right? But I actually know if a business is gonna succeed or not. When I'm
Ooh.
in a networking group, I can
Mm,
actually tell you how long you've been in business
mm.
by touching your business card.
Ooh.
It's and
True.
how long you're gonna be in business actually too.
Oh wow.
God-given talent that it's like it was funny to me. I can do a whole presentation like the one we're doing. We haven't recorded this. I don't feel scared. I'm not, other people are petrified. They say
Mhm.
that people rather be the person in the casket that giving the eulogy because they're afraid of public speaking. I'm a
Wow.
natural at it. I'm a natural
Yeah.
connecting. I'm a natural at helping people. And
Right.
what I did is God created me to just help others become independent,
Mm,
financial independent. And like I said, every single successful individual, I'm going to tell you about their faith because the faith will keep us accountable too. At the
right.
end of the day, my integrity is, am I doing the right thing even if no one's watching? Because at
Right.
the end of the day, I know he's watching.
Right, exactly. I love that.
Yes.
And
That
then
doesn't
tell
mean I was perfect, though. I want you to also understand, Alexis, I wasn't perfect. This
yeah.
has been which is self improvement or personal development. I mean, personal development has been something that is what I have obsessed on. There's
Yeah.
some things that you are, you know, okay to get obsessed on. I think
Mhm.
personal development for me has been something where I have become obsessed with that because
Yeah.
my competitor is not whoever has another agency. My competitor is the Rosie I was yesterday. And was the
I
Rosie that
love
I
that.
was yesterday was the best Rosie that I can present to the world? That doesn't mean I'm not gonna have bad days. It's the attitude
Yeah.
how I handle those bad days. And that's what I want to make
Exactly.
the best Rosie every single day.
Exactly. I love that. Well, that's actually a good segue. I want to ask about your personal brand. Like, how do how would you describe your personal brand? How has that evolved through your journey as an entrepreneur?
Yeah. So perfect. First of all, when I really started doing into real, okay. First of all, I never knew what brand was. Okay.
Hmm.
Like what? But this is very important, and for your viewers, your name is who you are. It's your
Hmm.
mark. And
Hmm.
actually, the Bible talks about the mark that you're leaving in this earth. So I
Oh.
used to say, put my name in everything. I love seeing myself on TV. I love people say, I watched you. I this. Why? Because that is me, my image. I'm very, people might call it, oh, you're so narcissistic. You love to see that. But you know what?
No.
No, it's your brand. It's who the authenticity of who you are. And that
Right.
authenticity needs to reflect in your business. Why?
Hmm.
Because if you are one person as who you are, your true self, and you try to be a different persona in the business, people catch that up
Oh
immediately.
yeah.
And
Oh
then
yeah. They
right
can tell if
away,
you're not being authentic.
yeah, they've been duped. So you don't like it.
Yeah,
So
dude.
it's easier to be you than
Hmm.
somebody you are not. Okay.
Mm.
That doesn't mean that you don't have to have that self-assessment, which is sometimes very hard because it's easier to point to somebody else. Yeah, there's three fingers pointing back at you.
Yeah.
Well, that's where the personal development comes from, because they said, okay, I used to, and this is, I was in the a reserve in the Navy Reserve for a little bit, but when I learned my English, the lady that actually, some of the people that taught me English, they curse like a sailor, literally, like they
Yeah.
curse. So there were words that I would say that I didn't know they were curse words until somebody said to me, that those are curse words. And it's like, what do you mean? So I learned that once I started having the relationship with the Lord, every time I was gonna curse, which it was very happened very often, it would
Hmm.
come out actually from my stomach, and I could see the anger coming out.
Oh,
And
wow.
I realized, I don't like that cursing, Rosie.
Yeah, no.
If my tongue, which is the most powerful weapon I have, does not edify somebody, is
Mm.
belittling and is cursing those people, it was God gave me this thing where I didn't feel good about it. So I said,
Yeah.
you know what? And it took some time. I'm not saying that I wasn't gonna curse tomorrow. Oh God, the Holy Spirit came over, woo, and Rosie stopped cursing. No,
Yeah,
it
it's a
took
process.
time, but
Mm.
you will hear me curse here and there sometimes, but I just don't like how that sounds. And now, 20 something years later, when I hear that, actually, I just realized I don't have any earrings. So when I hear that, actually, I don't like what the sound of my voice saying those words. So
Yeah,
once you really have that person of who you want to be, you change yourself because you can't change anybody else. I'm telling you, you can't change
right.
anybody else. You cannot change your loved ones. You can't change your parents. I learned that really fast. My parents are adults. I can't change my husband. I can't change my children. I can encourage them. I can
Mm.
empower them, and I can motivate them. But
Yeah,
once I change me, because I do have the power to change me, my environment changes.
right.
My environment
Exactly.
changes, I get a lot more opportunities, especially
Hmm.
in my business, because I attract the tribe that is looking to do business with me, that they like me,
Exactly.
trust me, and they want to do business with me. Mhm.
Exactly. Exactly. That energy you put out is what you get back, right? So if you're an aggressive person or you're swearing a lot or you're talking negatively about people, like that's what you're going to get in return, right? That's what the
Yeah.
universe thinks like, okay, this is what you're putting out there, this is what you're receiving. So I believe in the same thing.
And there's a journey. Some people are
Mhm.
going through this journey where they the biggest thing is when you really don't realize there's a problem. I mean, when
Yeah.
you're blind to the blind. I'm like, as I tell people, how can you tell a crazy person that they're crazy? Right?
Yeah.
I mean, they
Yeah.
can't. they have blinders on.
Yeah.
And it takes a lot of courage for you to realize, gee, that thing that I did is called stealing, and I didn't mean to. That was
Mm.
normal. My family maybe did that, or maybe your mentor taught you that, and you didn't not really honestly knew. But that's what the grace of God comes, right? Because you
Yeah.
realize, hey, that was wrong, and
Yeah.
I don't feel good about it. I don't want to do it anymore. That doesn't mean I did not do it. But from this day on, I'm forgiven, and I'm going to strive every single day not to do it again. And my past
Exactly.
does not equal my future. So whatever you did in
Ooh.
the past, you can hold that against you. And
Mm.
sometimes, especially if we come from authority that is very critical when we were little, now we adults, we don't have nobody who's criticizing us. We criticize ourselves. We
Mm.
are our worst enemy. And I will
Right.
tell people, look at the mirror. Look at the person in the mirror. That's the person you're going to spend the rest of your life with.
Hmm.
And will you talk to that person? Will you talk to a child the same way you talk to that person? And you will
That's so
say
true.
no. So yeah, learn to love yourself. I actually tell, I love you, Rosie. You did
Oh, I love that you do that.
good today, girlfriend.
Good. I know I can see where this obsession with personal development is coming in, but it's good. It's great. I mean, that's how you get better every day.
Yes, yes.
I
Like I said, my only competition is who I was yesterday. Yeah.
love that. Well, and so I want to talk about something I mentioned in the intro. You're republishing your book, Nieke. So tell us about that journey. What made you decide to republish it?
Well, first of all, why write a book, right?
Yeah.
The very beginning, this is what I thought. Okay, who's gonna read a Spanglish book? You gotta understand also that the Hispanic community, the way it has evolved over the years. When I came to Tampa, there were, they were not as diverse in the Hispanic community as they are now. Okay, there were
Oh, okay.
and there were Puerto Ricans. Everybody knows those two. And if you were not Cuban or Puerto Rican, they assume you were Mexican. That's it. There was nothing in between. So I
Oh.
realized, I really need to learn. I need to teach. I need to be an ambassador because I will say, I'm from Ecuador. Oh, that's in Africa. They used to, and I'm
What?
like, no, it's actually the
No.
country between Peru and Colombia. Oh, so you guys have drugs all the time. So I'm like, no, not really. I really learned about drugs here in the United States. Drugs literally in my country meant my dad will say to me, if you're in a party and you have a drink, do not leave it alone. Carry it with you.
Yeah.
Because you leave it alone, somebody might put a little white powder on it, and then you will go to sleep and they will take advantage of you. That was
Mm.
that was what drugs was back then. I now find out what it was, but that's the description. So
Yeah.
it was a lot of that's what I realized. I had to become an ambassador. I had become an ambassador of my brand, which we're talking about the branding,
Hmm.
an ambassador of my Christianity, right?
Mm.
The authenticity of who I am and my integrity
Mm.
in the business. An ambassador for people that they're scared and confused about Medicare and about their options, right?
Yeah.
So with all that, I say, who's gonna read a Spanglish book? But then somebody mentioned, oh, there's a thing called an editor or a ghostwriter that will sit
Yeah.
down with you and it will take your story and it will write it for you. And I said, you know
Really?
what? In my childhood, I said I probably will never be able to be a published author. But when you set your mind to do it, I said, I can
Hmm.
do this. So
Yeah.
with this course that it was a 12, like a year. So every month we'll get together with other authors and we all wrote that book. And that was one of, I think I have 3 or 4 books now. I have like co-authors, some other ones. But the
Okay.
reason why this one has changed 3 times and I republishing it is because every time of that there's some stories that I'm telling in the books that now have an ending. And when I wrote
Ooh.
the book, they didn't have an ending. So
Oh.
this will be the third and last edition of it.
Okay.
And plus, it is also going into ebook, so you can
Okay.
actually gonna be able to download it. My goal is for Q. for Q2 is probably have it in Spanish, because it is
Okay.
not in Spanish. That ñeque is actually not a Spanish word. It's actually a Quichua word from a tribe in my country. And Quichua is their native language. And I'll
Okay.
share the story of why that word is
Mm,
so powerful. And then eventually, I would like to have it in Audible, because I
yes.
do believe that if one or two people hear the story, they're going to connect. They're going to say, if she can do it, I can do it.
Right. Exactly.
Mhm.
Well, and that's a good segue. I wanted to ask too, if you have any tips to anyone else who's interested in publishing a book, like, or writing a book, what would be like the key tip you would want to give them?
Yes. So there is self-publishing and there's
Hmm.
published authors.
Hmm.
Okay. So self-publishing is that you can do it on your own, which there are people that help you do that. And sometimes your editor or your ghostwriter. My editor's name is Shirley Jump. She's amazing. And she can tell you, she can help you self-publish the book.
Yeah.
Then there is the published companies. Some published companies, you have to actually propose your manuscript and they will
Hmm.
accept it, and then they'll
Hmm.
publish it. Okay.
Hmm.
Or you can hire a company. If you
Hmm.
hire a company, please, 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 please check on references. Ask
Hmm.
for references,
Hmm.
and do not take it for granted that, oh, this person was not satisfied and this person is not satisfied, and the red flags are there, but you are so in love with your product, and your product means so much to you, that you're not watching those red flags. You
Mm.
really need to be careful and do your research about if you are going to go to hire a publishing company. what
Yeah.
what is the contract? The one thing I
Yeah.
learned in my contract is that my book did not belong to me, and
Yeah.
I had not read that on my contract. The
Mm.
good thing is that the first publisher, actually, she said she was going to um, um, put the book in the library, or whatever you actually put your book that belongs to somebody, where you I can't believe the name, but you can edit this part and we'll figure out what the name is.
Okay.
But the rights, she did not file the rights of the book under her company.
Mm.
So by
Okay.
not filing that, I was able to go in and file the rights of the book. And then
Okay. Before
now,
she did.
yeah, so now it's my book, it's not hers. And
That's
I did
good.
not really understood that when I was, hey, again, minutia, I don't read contracts, right? But that was the
Now
one.
you know.
So find out if the rights of the books is yours and not the publishing company, because
Yeah.
that is your, like, nobody can sell Rosie except Rosie,
Right.
you know.
Yeah.
It's-
Well, I'm sure you've gone through some challenging times in business and as an author. I mean, how do you, and you seem like you have such a strong positive mindset. So like how did you get to that place where you were able to overcome like doubt and fear? Like what kind of advice would you give to another entrepreneur?
Okay, so the other obsession I have is time management.
Okay.
Time management, okay? Because and I share this, and I didn't realize that you are as old as my daughter Tabitha,
I
34.
know. It's so weird. And very close birthdays too.
Yes. So actually, my children grew up with a neglected, absent mother. Okay. The person that I am now, as the mother of an adult 34-year-old woman, is a different relationship. But if
Mhm.
you go back, I was not the best nurturing mother for my children. I always provided. So I
Mhm.
worked and I worked, and I was a single mom that worked really hard to provide for my children, because they never lacked of anything. We always had a roof over our heads. We always had food. They always had the best toys, the ones, whatever they wanted. One time, my daughter, in her uh, enlightenment, because you learn so much from your children, she used to tell me, Mom, I would not have cared if we ate peanut butter and jelly and we lived in a mobile home house, as long as you were home with me. I missed you
Mhm.
so much. And she
Mhm.
actually became mother of my son. So there's this dynamic now as an adult, that where my
Mhm.
son, when he needs something, he goes to her. When I have to say
Mhm.
hello, hello, I'm your mom over here. So now
Yeah.
we have to repair. We're still working on it. It's not perfect, but we're still working on the relationship now of the mother of a 34-year-old and my son, a 30-year-old, right? Um, so it's what I was going to tell you is that life is not perfect, but once I realized that time management allowed me to have the date with my husband, the date with my daughter, the date with
Mhm.
my son, okay? Before I was like going, just putting out fires, putting out fires, putting out fires. Now,
Mhm.
even like if I have to make a phone call, it goes into my calendar, and my husband knows. If it's not in
Mhm.
my calendar, and you say we have to go somewhere, I even have to put the drive time. So how long it
Yeah.
takes. For example, if I
Mhm.
go to the Tampa Club, which I love, love, love the
Yeah.
Tampa,
Yeah. Yeah.
we
Yeah.
it takes 45 minutes to an hour depending on traffic. I have
Mhm.
to block that time in my calendar. That
Mhm.
doesn't mean I will not be able to have a conversation with somebody on the car, right? But that time has to be blocked in my calendar. So I'm very obsessed. Like I said, there's certain things that I am really a little bit obsessed about. 2 weeks
Yeah.
before the end of the year, my birthday is on the 19th of December. So really a little bit after the 19th, I party a lot.
Good.
last
That's your
two
time to
the
let all
last
the steam
two
out.
yeah, the last 2 weeks of December is when I schedule my whole year for the following year. So
Mhm.
the first thing that goes in there is everybody's birthdays, my husband's anniversary, things that they are more important, my vacation. Those things are gonna go there right away. With my husband is the 777. Every 7 days we go into a base. Every 7 weeks we go into a weekend get together. Every 7 months we go into a vacation. Seven, seven, seven.
I like that.
Build your relationship. Yes, remember,
Yeah.
your husband shares you with the world. To me, I
Mhm.
mean, your spouse, let's put it this way, because it
Mhm.
might be a man writing this, but your spouse shares you with the world, because if you are the
Mhm.
brand of your company, okay, so
Yeah.
you have to have that time with that person, because if
Right.
your marriage falls and crumbles, you will not be able to be successful and you will not be able to focus. So
Right.
777, 7 days, you have a date. 7 weeks, you have a weekend getaway. No kids, no nothing if you have kids. And then your 7 weeks, 7 months vacation together,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
Then time management. So that goes in there first. Then my volunteer, because as a business owner, one of the things that you have to do is also fill your heart.
Yeah.
To me, helping others that cannot help themselves is fills my heart. So, for example, last year I was sitting at the planning commission of Separate Hills. I was sitting in the committee at the job and opportunity council of Pasco County. And this time, in this year, I'm sitting at the board of the Tampa Club, and I'm
Mhm.
sitting at the board. But I'm gonna actually file the application of the board of the Separate Hills Pregnancy Center, because the pregnancy center
Mm.
is something that is near and dear to my heart. So I give back to the community that way. So that goes in there
Yeah.
second. And then I take my beauty, like if I have to do my routine, to continue
Mhm.
to look beautiful in my smile,
Yeah.
right?
Self-care.
So
Self-care.
my
Yeah.
self-care goes in there. My exercise, I and
Mhm.
exercise people. Just go to the corner, get up from your chair, walk to the
Mhm.
corner, come back. But
Yeah.
put it on the calendar. Put it on the calendar.
Mhm.
Because
Yeah.
think about this, and this might be a little bit too close, but this is Rosie. Do you want to wipe your own butt at age 80? Exercise. If
Yes.
not, somebody else will be wiping your butt, because you will not be able to. So it's
Yeah.
either you wipe your butt now or somebody else.
Yeah. No, it's so true. That mobility, you have
Yeah,
to
and it
work on
doesn't
it.
have to be, oh, I'm lifting weights, or I'm gonna, no, just do something that makes you happy. Just
Movement.
move,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, then it goes the work hours, right? What hours,
Mhm.
especially if you are an entrepreneur, you can't work 24/7. Hey, I have tried. It doesn't work. And
Yeah,
also,
no,
you can
not gonna go well.
yourself. You can't duplicate yourself, except you can yourself. If you really understand and you have mastered your career, you can actually clone it and teach it to somebody else. You
Right.
help that person keep their authenticity. They have
Hmm.
their own drive that they're looking for them, and all you do is sharing your knowledge with them of the
Hmm.
product, right? The product history, knowledge. How do you um, use that product? But
Hmm.
that person has a totally different tribe that is not your tribe. So now you have cloned yourself. You haven't duplicate yourself, but you have cloned your knowledge into them, and they are keeping their authenticity to help others. So that's how you duplicate yourself. But otherwise, you can't. So make sure
Right.
time management is a huge thing on your
Yeah.
business.
Yeah. Absolutely. I love that. I schedule everything as well. So I'm definitely in agreement of that. If it's not on the calendar, it's not happening. So,
Yes, 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 yes.
and if it's on the calendar, it's happening. I don't
Mhm.
cancel or, make excuses, right? It's
Right.
something you're committed to.
Yeah, that is another one. Yeah, if you give your word, and I know life happens,
Yeah.
children get sick and all that stuff. So don't
Even
overcommit.
today, I lost power and we had this fight and we both like got all cute and I was like, no, this has to happen. So I just found the nearest office I could find.
Right.
So we made it work. But
Yeah, and
what's
remember this is it's easier to um oh hold on. Oh, under promise and over
over
deliver,
the liver? Hmm.
that under promise and over deliver. I mean, no,
Hmm.
no, on over promise and under deliver.
Right,
People don't
right,
like that.
right. Yeah.
So if you say you're gonna be there, wanna be there.
Hmm.
Again, we now know, the pandemic. There were things that you say you're gonna be there, but you couldn't, and there were actually situations like the pandemic that
Yeah.
you couldn't be there.
Yeah.
But if you say you're gonna be there, just be there. Your
Yeah.
integrity, it means a lot, and how you present you as the person. That's what I say. My personal brand is pure, positive, and inspiring ideas. Like if I'm not
Yeah.
thinking pure thoughts, positive thoughts, I'm not inspiring somebody or I'm
Yeah.
creating inspiring ideas. That helps now that my business brand, which it has a little, my personal brand has a lot of pink and roses and things like that. My
Same.
business brand, yes, yes. Business Rosie Paulsen Enterprises has a little bit more of the orange and the wine colors and the gray
Mm.
colors because it's a little bit more. It's not as professional, right?
Yeah.
How I teach you with a business strategy how to be successful in your business.
Hmm.
My SNR services is actually a totally different shade because that goes with the protection. So SNR services stands for simply and reliable insurance
Mm.
services, right? So, and that is actually, even though I might be at the beginning, I was the face of that company. Now I have a team of agency partners, and we are switching to taking me from being the face. I'm still going to be the relationship builder, and I'm really the chief relationship officer.
Yes.
They are the ones that they are will continue with the serving the community and changing
Right.
um, our community by serving and leading with a servant heart.
Hmm. And that
Yeah.
goes back to your point about duplicating and, helping train others to go out in the world like you have. And now you can maybe move on to other things and, really focus on your personal brand.
Yeah, and
And thanks for,
the one thing I really want to say is at the very beginning when I was running away from my calling, it was
yeah.
because I was chasing my friends and families. When I
Oh,
had
okay.
that clear message, actually the people that were looking for me came without me. I only had one recruitment event, and the recruitment event was more to try off what my company, the one I have my contacts with, they had this pilot. They wanted somebody to try, and of course I tried anything once. And
Hmm.
Rosie, can you try? And I said, sure. And I got two agents out of that they are one of the, the way we have grown. And I do predict, my business coach, we sat down and we are probably going to, if we were 140%, we probably going to grow a lot more this year because we have pretty much, I had 5 agents. Now I have 14, so that's 10 more, but my goal is
Wow.
to have 25.
Wow.
And so yeah, we can that quintify, I guess,
Yeah.
is 5 times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's manifest that for 2025 and beyond.
Yes.
And so, I know you mentioned both of your businesses. Where can someone find you online, and how can they connect with you?
Okay. Well, all my social media platforms are under Rosie Paulsen. And I have to ask you, Tabitha was telling me something about TikTok, that you're not able to download TikTok and people are selling their phones because you're not able to download TikTok anymore. I don't know. So you and I got to talk about that. But
What about that?
yeah, Rosie Paulsen, and it's the same way that is written here. My snrservices.com is where you can find information if you are scared and confused about Medicare and would like a unbiased solution to your Medicare options. You go
Mhm.
to that. Or if you're looking to fire your 9 to 5 job or your boss, and sometimes you are the own boss that needs some changes. And then
Yep.
the Rosie Paulsen Enterprises, those rosiepaulsen.com, which is my business strategist website. But if
Okay.
you just Google Rosie Paulsen, I'm like in the top SEO number one.
Yeah, you've done a good job with that, and we'll
Yeah,
continue to grow it as
not
well. So
knowing though, not knowing. That's when you really know that you're not
it's genuine. Yeah.
well.
Okay, perfect. Well, I'll put all that in the show notes as well, so people can easily find you. But thank you so much for joining. So with that, we conclude another episode of the Thought Garden. If you enjoyed today's conversation, be sure to follow us on Spotify, YouTube, and social media at rosarium.work. We'll be continuing to post our episodes. And if you're interested in sharing your story, you can reach out to us to apply to be on the podcast. We'd love to hear from you. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time on the Thought Garden.
Ciao.